This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hello everyone. Very good morning to all. So in this session, we are going to discuss about one more hook. The hook name is going to be use reducer hook. In the last session, we discussed about use state and use effect hooks. And in this session, now I'm going to discuss about use reducer. Let us go there. Use REDUCR, use reducer hook. This is the hook we have to discuss now. Actually, what is this use reducer hook? By using this hook, by using this hook, we can maintain the state of the component. Oh my God. Already for maintaining the state of the component, we have used state hook now. We have already used state hook is there. This purpose is also the same. Then what is use reducer hook? But before going to use reducer hook, I mean, we want to know the differences between the use state and use reducer. We have to discuss it first of all. Finally, we can conclude with the differences. What is the purpose of use reducer? What is the purpose of use state? For example, simply, I will tell you one difference here. You want to create some kind of functionality earlier. What is this use context? We discussed it, right? This is use context hook, right? 1 minute. Let me remove this. We discussed use effect. Where is this use effect? Somewhere around I discussed it with you guys here. Use effect hook. Okay, if I found quickly hook users or something, I've created a file. Yes, maybe hook users.js maybe. Yeah, you can see here, not this is on click load button, hook codes, hook counter, hook users API. Yeah, this is the file. Can you see? Here we define the state. Can you see? This is how we define the state. Check this carefully. If you need 4 5 states, then what you need to do? Definitely we have to define the states like this only. There is no other way. Now you can see error message. I am going to create one more thing called something called success message user state. Something like this. We are creating the state multiple states. Use state is also for maintaining the state. Use reducer also for maintaining the state. Nothing different. Both hooks are for the same purpose. But here you can see we are creating multiple states. Here we will create only one state for all these only. Let us take one variable const initial state. I'm taking one variable equal to all the states we can define like this here. What is this is going to be users colon. This is an empty object, something like this, guys. We can define it. And loader 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 initially it is going to be false. Can you see? And error or error message msg is initially empty, and it is going to be success. Finally, success msg is empty. Now we can take the state like this. We can take one state and we can pass the state to use reducer. This is also maintaining, but if you can see this, if you need 10-15 states, you have to write 10-15 times use state, use state, use state. But here we are writing all these things. Okay, right. This is one small difference where we are passing where we are creating multiple user states. But here we are not creating such a manner. We will create only one global state that we will pass to the component. Right. Now we can check this. The use reducer hook have two parameters. One is a reducer function. This is a reducer function, whatever it may be, reducer function. And the second one is going to be the initial state. We have to pass the initial state to it. And what it will do, it will return two values for us, like user state, how it is returning two values. And it is also give you, one is going to be the counter or any variable, some variable and some function. I'm taking like this, some variable. It may be a some variable, comma, some function. It will return two values to us. One is a variable, one is a function. What is a function? We know that same, like you can go to use state also. In the use state, this is the one parameter this will accept, but use reducer accept two parameters. One is a reducer function, one is an initial state, and it is going to be users variable, get users variable, or the users is a variable, get users is a function. In the same manner, use reducer also returning two values. One is a variable which holds the state, and one more is going to be a function. Here we can work with complex objects also in the state component in the use reducer, guys. Yeah, what is the complex object, complex state working, that we will see in the session. Okay, let us go and implement it, and how this use reducer is going to be works for us. Okay, for basic understanding, what I will do, earlier we created a counter, increment, decrement, right? That we can do, we did in the class component, that I did in the functional component by using use state. Let me do the same functionality by using user reducer hook also, but see the difference. So if you want, you can check this, the counter file, where is the counter file, hook counter or something I created, I believe. You can check this, this is the hook counter file we created. Can you see? This is increment, this is decrement, and for this we taken counter update, and something like we taken, right? This is the file, you can observe this carefully, increment by 5, decrement by 5, something we implemented. Sorry, this is what exactly earlier we implemented. Now the same functionality I have to implement by using use reducer. Here you used user state, no, I want to use reducer. If you can use reducer, we don't want to write this multiple times, use state, use state, use state. We can define a global state object in the component. That component we will pass to use reducer hook, and there is a callback function. What is that callback function and what is that is going to be, we will see. Let us go there. Now I'm going to hook counter, hook counter 1.js. Okay, let me take the file like this, hook counter 1.js. Okay, now RFC, create a functional component. First of all, import use reducer hook. Use reducer hook is imported. Once use reducer hook is imported, we have to pass use reducer. In this, we have two parameters only. One is a reducer function. You can take the function name as reducer as it is, no problem, or anything. You can take your choice. The name of the function is your choice. I am taking this as a reducer only. If you don't want reducer, you can take any other name there, no problem. Here, I'm taking some initial state, initial, initial state. You no need to pass initial state. I mean, you can take any variable here. I want to tell you, the parameters you pass to use reducer is your choice completely. You can name it anything, but the first one is a callback function and the second one is going to be initial state, but we didn't define them, right? Let me go out of the component and I'm going to define the initial state. Count initial, initial, initial state is equal to 0. Let me take something like this. I'm taking the initial state as 0. Okay, that is what we passed it, right? Counter example, right? Right. After that, we have to create a reducer. Yes, reducer. Can you see here? This reducer function having two parameters. Let us go and take this const reducer. This reducer function having two parameters only. What is it? The two parameters we are having? We have to check it. Check this carefully. One is going to be state, I believe. First one is going to be the state, and second one is going to be the action. What is action? I will tell you. This is the function. Name of the parameters could be your choice. I'm telling you. I'm telling you the action. I mean, what is the action you are performing here? Okay, or else you can do one thing. Before going to this reducer function, let me define three buttons, guys. Here, 1 minute. What I will do, for better understanding, now you can see I'm creating a button open, button close. This is going to be increment. First, let me create it so that it will be easy for us. Increment, decrement. This is going to be decrement and this is going to be reset. I'm just going to take this as a reset. Okay, let me import this. I'm going to import this component. What is the component we created? This reducer, and this is all not required. If you want, you can keep this into comment. I'm going to make this into comment. So this context, sorry, use context we implemented, right? But it is not required for me. That's why I'm keeping it into comment. Now, what is the thing you are having here? Check this carefully. The component you created just now is going to be hook counter 1. It is going to be hook counter 1 component is imported. Just you can go and refresh the page. By refreshing the page, can you see the output of the program will be just, we will see 3 buttons. That's all. We cannot see anything there. Localhost colon, right, increment, decrement, reset. Okay, what I will do on top of these buttons, I want to take a H1 tag to display the counter. H1 tag open, H1 tag close. I'm displaying something called counter. Initially, we don't have any value. I'm setting statically 0. Okay, great. Now you can go there. Now, to this user reducer function, what I'm telling you, if you can click increment, value should be incremented. Decrement, it should be decremented. Reset, it should be come to the actual state. Now I have to define a reducer function. Why reducer function? Here you taken this as a function as reducer. No? This is a callback function. This is the initial state. Already we define initial state. Now I'm defining the reducer function. Can you see? This is going to be little different. Const reducer. It has two parameters. One is going to be state. Other one is going to be action. What type of action? If I click increment action, value should be incremented. If I click decrement action, value should be decremented. If I click reset, value should be resetted. I mean that action is nothing but increment, decrement, reset. How we will set the action here, you can see. Now you can see, at least this function should return the state and return state state. I told you, right? So this is going to return two values for us now. Let us take array destructuring. This is going to be const. I'm taking two values here. One is going to be counter comma. One more is going to be some function actually. It will return a function. Let us take the name of the function in a meaningful manner. I'm taking the function as dispatch. Here telling you counter is a variable name, dispatch is a function name. Sorry, dispatch is predefined. No, you can take any name there, no problem. Reducer is predefined. No, you can take any name. Initial state is predefined here, you can take any name. So these are the variables. You can take anything. So whatever the use reducer hook is returning, the return values we are saving into two variables. One is a counter, one is a dispatch. Understand, right? So now you can see in place of this, I am going to make it as a counter, countr counter. Now you can check this counter 0. Now it is statical. Earlier we set it as a 0 normally. Now it is you can see it is okay for me. Now on click this action. I mean, what is that action you are clicking? Increment action. So what I will do, let us see how I will match this. I'll have to try to see. I will take switch cases, swit switch. In this I'm passing action. Now you can check this carefully. In this, I'm taking a case increment. If we can click the increment button, the action should be matched with increment. If it is incremented, then what I need to do, I have to return state plus 1. What is the initial state? 0, 0 plus 1. Now the second case here, if we can check this case, this is going to be decrement, D-E-C-R-E-M-E-N-T, decrement. Now you can check this decrement. If you can click the decrement, now what I need to do, I have to return state minus 1. So otherwise reset na case reset. If it's the case is reset, let us see how we will match them, guys. Wait for a minute. I'm writing the conditions. Reset in the sense return initial state and initial state, and finally default, default, default. If nothing is matched, so we will return the default only, guys. This is what you have to do it. If there is nothing action matched, it has to return the default state only. If case is matched to increment the count, decrement the count, reset the count. That is initial state only. We taken something like this. But my question, how we can match that action here? Remember carefully, if we can dispatch is there, na? Dispatch is a function. Now you can see how I will match it. I'll have to try to see. Here on click, I'll have to try to see on click is equal to, in this we have to take a callback function. In this callback function, we will write dispatch, dispatch, dispatch. In this, just pass increment, increment, increment. So if we can pass to dispatch function, dispatch is the function. To that function, I'm passing a parameter called increment. On click this increment button, it will calls the reducer. In the reducer, it will matches the action. Current action is increment now. Whatever the value you pass it to dispatch function increment, right? That value will automatically pass it to action. That's the reason we are passing switch action. If action is increment, this will be executed. If action is decrement, this will be executed. If action is reset, this is going to be executed. Now what I need to do in the same manner, you can write on click for this also. Now I'm writing on click equal to, this is going to be the same callback function. Dispatch, sorry, dispatch, dispatch. In this you have to take decrement, decrement, decrement. Same for reset also, nothing but dispatch is a callback function to this callback function. So I mean, this is a dispatch. I mean, whatever the reducer is giving to us, what dispatch will do, dispatch will send the action to this reducer function. That's the reason, right? So if you can pass a parameter to dispatch, that parameter will be passed to reducer function. Reducer function will execute the case, it will update the state. The updated state, we know that if state is updated, that will be printed on the screen. Now you can see on click again, sorry, on click, dispatch, and it is going to be reset, reset, reset. Done. Now you can check this. I think as we expected, increment is working, decrement is working, and reset is also working. This is what exactly the concept we should understand. The same program we implemented earlier, now we implemented the same, but this is the logic we have to write here. Okay, now this is the simple state. Sometimes what I want to take here, I want to take this as a C. This is the program. Let me create hook counter 2. The same program I'm copying. Let me try to implement in a different manner. I have only one state right now. If you have multiple values in the state object, that's we need to check it. Let me go and create the same file here. I'm creating hook counter 2.js. This is the file I'm creating. Nothing difference is there. Right, file is created. Let me copy paste the same code. Let me override the name it hook counter 2. Yeah, go on top and change the name also, hook counter 2, hook counter 2. Yes, we named it as. Let me come to here. Let me import also hook counter 2, not 1, hook counter 2 I imported. Perfect. Now can we go and check this? The same program we are able to get it again, increment and decrement. Right, now what I will do, in this time I'm taking this as an object only. So I told you, right, we can maintain, right, initial state. This is, let me take some example called first counter, second counter, like this I will take complex state. This is, now you can see this is object. Earlier it is a simple value we taken directly, now it's an object. Remember carefully, if it is an object, what you need to do, it should not be right like this. Remember, you have to update the first counter, right? The first counter initial state is available into the state object. It is an object now. Earlier it is a simply a number. Now the state object we are passing to reducer function is a object. So now you're passing initial state here now. This state is going to be saved in the following. This dispatch, this reducer will match with the following action. Now let us do one thing. So here you have to update an object like this, first counter, because there is an object now, first counter. You have to write something, state dot first counter plus 1. You have to write the logic like this time write the same. You again go here, again I have to write the first counter state dot first counter minus 1, state dot first first counter minus 1. This is initial state only. For this we don't want to make it any change. Now you can see, you can click this. Sorry, something went wrong. What is this? Objects are not valid of React child, object of keys. Oh, see, this is an object now. So this is in the object. If it is a direct value, okay, it is object. Then what I need to do, it is returning counter object. So you have to write counter dot first counter. This is very important. If it is a single value, okay, but this time this is going to be an object, state object. Earlier we have simple value, that's why it is a number, that's why we written directly. Now you can check this. Maybe you can get the value incrementing, decrementing, and reset. Like this we can do. Okay, sir, here you are passing manually some value. No, I want to pass my own value. How can we do this? For this dispatch function, can I pass multiple values? Only I passed only one value. Yes, you can pass multiple values. That is a parameter like object. Now let me show you how can we pass this. Can you see? Let me take some key and value pair combination. Like object means key and value pair, right? Okay. Action, let me do one thing. Here I'm taking a curly bracket. I'm taking a key type is increment. Can you see? I'm taking the second one is going to be value, VALU, value colon 1. I have to increment by 1 only. The same, let me take here also. I'm copying the same callback function to decrement also. Let me do one thing. The same I'm going to take here also. Oh, what happened? What I'm pressing? Now you can check this. I'm copying the same. Copy this, and you can go to this. Remove this. Take the same object here, but type is going to be decrement. That's all. I'm not going to take anything decrement. Can you see? We can pass object. Now in this point of time, dispatch is an object. We passed earlier a simple string value, increment, decrement. Dispatch is an object. Dispatch may be an array. It has a parameter. It may be an array. We taken an object. Now you can check this. Now I'm going to write in this point of time, you have to write action dot type and d. Can you see? The type will become here. You taken the value like this, right? You have to take action dot value. You have to take something like this, that whatever the parameters we are passing here, these parameters will be available into automatically this action. This is action is an object now. Earlier it is a simple string, increment, decrement, something like this. In this point of time, we have to write like this, action dot type and action dot value, something like this. You have to do it. That's all. Now you can check this. This will also works as we expected. Increment is working, decrement is working, and reset is also working. Reset is working. No, reset is not working. Why reset is not working? We have initial state, right? Initial state dot first counter 0. Now let me write something like this. Return FIRST first counter 0. Let me set it as a 0. Let me check this. What is going to be happening? Incrementing. I am resetting. Oh, it is not resetting. Is there any error we have? I don't have any error, but the value should be reset. Why this is not reset? Am I need to? Oh my god, this is also we have to pass an object. And earlier whatever the logic we written is correct only, nothing wrong inside of it. But for this also we have to pass a reset. This should be an object. We written action dot type there now. That's the reason. Take this type, and this is going to be reset. Now you can check this. I think it will be works this time. I'm incrementing. If you can click reset, yeah, it is resetted the value. Second parameter is optional. So here you pass two parameters. In the reset, we are not adding anything now. We are simply resetting the state. So we don't want to do anything for it, right? Everything we have to pass this as an object. Now the other case, this case is very important. Unfortunately or fortunately, we have one state here. Okay, this is working fine for us. Try to observe this carefully. I'm taking the second counter. Okay, now you can take this as a second counter. Now this is going to be second counter value is let us take this as a 10. Initial value of the second counter is 10. So the same value we can display here and now you can check this. I'm going to the JSX in this now counter, first counter. Let us write one thing. This is going to be the first counter, FIRST first counter, and second counter. I'm writing something called SECOND, second counter. And what is the second counter we have? Second counter value I will take like this. Counter dot second counter, counter dot SECOND second counter. Can you see, Nandu? Now you can see counter value 0 and 10 we're able to see. So simply you have to consider one thing. If it is a one state, okay. If it is a simple value, okay. When you are having multiple states in the object, maybe we have to work on these also, right? Now you can check this, right? We are able to done. Now you can check this. Second counter na +2 +2 +2 I want to increment. Now what I want to do, same logic is same only, nothing difference is there. Now you can check this. I'm copying the same two functions here. This is increment the same action by 2. This is value, I'm taking this as a 2. Now you can check this. This is also the decrement, value is by 2. This is also 2, same action, nothing difference. Let me take this as a increment by 2. I'm taking this as a by 2, and this is decrement by 2, but the value is changing now. What is the value you have here? Dynamically you pass the value here. So earlier if we can just click increment, it will increment by 1 by 1. If you can click this by 2 by 2, it will increment by 2 by 2. Now you can check this. Try to see. I'm incrementing this. Now you can check this. Oh, do you observe anything on the screen? Okay. Now I'm clicking increment by 2. You can see this is the first counter. Now when you are clicking increment by 2, where is the first counter value, Andy? Oh, first counter value is there. Increment by 2. This is working. Why that is not working? That value gone, Andy. Oh my God, what happened to that value? And one more thing, for this increment by 2, I think we have to change the actions also. No, we are writing, we have two counters actually. See, if I click this, it is incrementing the first counter schedule, not the second counter. So what I need to do, I have to match one thing, and the increment to the case decrement to. I'm writing the cases like this. Check this carefully. When these cases are matched, that state should be updated actually. This is a different thing, right? So this is the other one. But in this return, we are incrementing counter, first counter of counter, first counter. Now you have to write one more case under here. The one more case is going to be like this. Check this carefully. What I want to do, the same I'm copy pasting. Now you can take this as a increment to decrement to. Now the cases will be matched. In this, you cannot take the first counter. You have to take the second counter now. SECOND. Second counter, state dot second counter plus action dot value. SECOND. Second counter. Okay, the same you can take here also. SECOND second counter, and this is also going to be second counter. SECOND second counter and second counter. Okay, now you can check this. Maybe the thing you will understand right now clearly, but there is a problem I observe. 0 and 10. When I am clicking this doc decrement by 2, that is decrementing by 2 and incrementing by 2. Okay, this is working. But you can see when I'm clicking this first increment, now you can see, and it is giving something called nan. Oh, what is this? Why are you getting nan? And where is this value? Second counter value gone. So what happened? In this point of time, the existing state override with the current state, Andy. How can we override like this? So actually, initially you are incrementing increment. Okay, this is working. When you are incrementing, this value is gone. When I'm trying to increment by 2, that is giving you nan, and both the values are gone. I have to keep the previous value. I have to keep the current value. To do this, we can use an operator called spread operator. All of you try to see what a spread operator will do in the every of the return statement. Try to check this. What I am going to do, check this carefully. In the return statement, you have to use a spread operator. So because of that, it is, what is a spread operator will do, it will copy the previous state with the current state. Previous state plus current state. Now you can see I will write like this. Now you can check this. Dot 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 state stat comma first counter. Now what happened? It will holds the previous state. It will get the current state. The value, current state and previous state, both will be maintained in the state object. Okay, for everything you have to take something like this dot 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 state, because it is overriding the value. I don't want to override the values. I want to keep the previous value. I want to keep the current value. That's the reason we are using the concept called spread operator. State dot 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 state dot 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 state state something. Now we can check this. Earlier we have that problem. Now I'm incrementing, value getting incremented, but this value won't gone. Now you can decrement by 2. Now that is also decrementing, and the values are not gone. I'm resetting the both again. They are 0 and 10 decrement, and this is increment by 2. All are working. So what happened in this point of time? This is a special case you should remember. If we have a single state, we don't have any problem. The problem will become when we are working with multiple states in a single state object. So I have to keep the previous state, I mean previous first counter values as well as the second counter values also. Nothing but simply says previous state will be copied to the current state, right? So that it is not going to be overridden in this point of time. Because of writing spread operator, it will, the spread operator holds the previous state, and this is going to hold the current state. The current state will be merged into the state object. So I mean all the values will be available there, so it won't be overridden. So you have to write like this when you are working with multiple states. If it is a single state value, we don't have any problem with this. When we are working with multiple state values, we need to check the thing like this. This is what exactly the way of using user reducer hook. Okay, let me do one thing. Let us implement a small Ajax call also by using this user reducer hook. We have already Axios, we know. By using Axios, let me get the data by using user reducer. As of now, we used use effect hook. Now I'm going to use user reducer. Let us go there. I'm going to get hook users API 1.js. Already one file is created, hook users API 1.js. Let us create RFCE. Now you can see, first import the use reducer hook. Quickly observe this carefully how we are going to do. Use reducer hook is imported. I'm coming here. We have use reducer hook. It have two parameters. One is going to be the reducer function, users reducer. Let me create a function like this. Users reducer 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 comma function name is your choice, initial state and I'm going to take something called initial state, initial state. We know that this will give you two values to us. Let us take array destructuring, right? The two values are going to be, one is users comma, other one is going to be a action dispatch. I'm taking the same thing called dispatch, like you taken there, right? I'm taking the same. So now, did you define this user reducer? Did you define this initial state? No. Let me do one thing. I'm going to define const initial state equal to, I'm going to define users initially empty array loading loading initially true. This time I'm working differently. I don't want to click a button or anything. While I'm getting data, the loading should be true. On load the page, we will get the data, not on click the button. That's why I'm taking loading is true. Once you got the data, I have to hide the loading. I mean, what is the loading message or something, I have to hide it. Okay. So this is the two values I taken. If anything required, we can take error message also if required. Error MSG, or I'm taking initially empty. We don't have any error. This is the state is defined. That's all. We don't want to take anything. Now you have to define the function, right? Const users reducer is a callback function. It has two parameters, right? One is going to be the state, state comma. Other one is going to be the action, right? We know that the parameters we will take like the same manner. SWIT switch. In this, I'm taking action dot type, right? Same like I will pass an object into the below. In this case, let us write this as a fetch fetch fetching data na fetch success. Okay, let us take the keys and like this. These are all your choice completely. Fetch success. If it is successfully fetched, then what I want to do, you should return the state object. Return. In this, you have to take a users colon action dot payload. I'm taking something called action dot data or action dot payload or whatever it may be. Whatever the data you got it, I will take it only. So once you got the data, loading should be false. I don't want to make the loader should be available. It should be false. And we don't have any error message also. Na? Error message is going to be, it is also empty. If you have successfully, we don't want to do anything, right? All right. The second case here, if we can come to here, the second case is going to be case fetch error. FETCH fetch request. Okay, let me write this as a request. REQUEST request. It is not success. Request means we are sending we are sending a request on load the page. But in this point of time, I have to see one thing. Return users will never come. Users is going to be an empty object only, and loading it should be true and it should be true. You have to display the loader, and you don't have any error also at this point of time. Error is going to be empty. So error message, sorry, error MSG equal colon empty. So loading only true. We are sending a request on the time. We cannot get the data, but loading should be true, and it is going to be error message. Or else you can write this case first. I think meaningfully, you can write the case first. Okay, na right? If you have data, I mean when you are sending the request, if you success, if you failure. Third case also I want to take here one more case. Case is going to be fetch error. Let us take one case, FETCH fetch underscore error. This is the case I have. So if you have any error written, I cannot see definitely users only. Users is going to be an array. We can't see anything here. Definitely I have to hide the loading also. Loading should be false. Loading. Loading is going to be false. You have to set the error message, Andy. Error MSG. The error MSG is going to be sorry, something went wrong. You have to define it, Andy. Sorry. WRONG. Sorry, something went wrong. So otherwise, if no cache is matched, what is the default, Andy? Default is going to be return state, Andy. Just return the state. That's all. These are the thing. So how we can update the state here? It is initially we don't have. Here we are writing something called action.payload. Now you can see in this we have to call the use effect hook, Andy. In the use effect hook, we have to implement the thing. Let me go to the top of the page. Here, use reducer, you have to take use effect also. Use effect is used EFFECT, use effect hook. On load the page, we have to send a request to server now that I'm writing the logic into the component. Now you can see this is going to be use effect. I don't want cleanup logic. I don't want dependency array. And this is the logic you need to write here. On load the page, I have to send a request, Andy. So we have AXIOS axios dot get. The endpoint URL you have to take it dot then dot catch. catch. So here it is going to be a callback function. It is going to be with a response parameter, Andy. This is also going to be a callback function with error parameter, right? That's all. So if you have any error, if you have anything, right, this is exactly, you can see I'm writing dispatch. In this dispatch, I'm passing that loading and the fetch request, FETCH, fetch REQUEST. This is a fetch request. Try to see what I'm doing here carefully. This is going to be a fetch request. So once that is done, that's fine. Here, the second one is going to be, or else you can take type, na. You can take an object like this. Type is going to be fetch request. So once you send the request, dispatch, you got the data now, dispatch. You can see it is also an object. Type colon fetch success Sunday, comma PAYLOAD, payload. I'm taking res dot data. That's all. Whatever the data you are getting, that I'm pushing into it, and right. So this is going to be the error. If you have any error, type equal to fetch error. Fetch error. ERR or error. For this, we don't need any payload here. Just I'm making this as an empty. That's all, Andy. Now you can see, but you have to pass the endpoint URL, and let me check whether you are having data. This should be printed here. Once you got the data, console.log of users, I'm printing console.log of users, USERS users. I'm printing. Initially, we cannot see anything there. Okay, let me get JSON TP code, JSON TP code slash users, the same endpoint URL I'm copying, and you can keep the endpoint URL here, and let me check this, what is going to be happen. Okay. Now this should be imported here, right? Hook counter 2 is imported. Yes, hook counter 2 is imported, and this is counter 2. What is the hook counter? Oh, hook users API 1. Let us create the file. Hook users API. Hook users API 1. That is what imported. Now we can check this. So will you got the data here in the console? Yeah, we are able to see. Initially, we don't have any data only. After that, you got the data. You're able to see the data now, right? This is what exactly the thing. So on the screen, you want to display at least, okay, we are getting multiple users, kada. You want to display the loader message, you can display, right? So in this, I want to write one message, users dot loading. Let me do one thing, users dot loading, loading is it true? We have to display the message loading, something like this. Otherwise, we don't want to display anything, Andy. You can take a paragraph tag here. In the paragraph tag, I will display this message. If data is loading, okay, it has to display. Otherwise, we don't want to display anything. And one more thing, if you have any error also, users.error message, users dot error message is there, and we have to print the error message. Already we have error message now, sorry. uh, we are setting the error message users dot error error msc. Otherwise it is going to be null, null, something like this only. So if you have any data, okay, error message will be displayed. Otherwise we have to iterate the data only. Right now you can see when I'm refreshing the page, are you getting loading? You're getting loading and hiding, right? Why? Because on load the page it has to come. Once you got the data, it has to hide. Right now you can check this. I'm taking users, take the JSX, users dot length greater than 0 question mark. Users dot map item user comma index. Oh, I think we have to take a table here, right? Take the table, otherwise make it null. Right, in this table we will take some headings. As we know, tab t head, yes, t head open, tr th id username, that's all. T body, in this take the JSX, users dot map, in this callback function user comma index, tr open tr close, key equal to index, td user dot id user dot username. So I'm not displaying all the information from the API. Right now you can see initially loading should become, I'm not getting data, Andy. Why so? Loading is coming, it is hiding. We are getting data na. Oh ho ho. Users. We are getting users. Res dot users, sir. 1 minute. I think here I did wrongly. Console dot log of res. Let me take this. Data, fine. You're getting data. Okay. Res dot data we passed here. After passing data to it, what it is having, console dot log of users. Why I'm not getting the data? Users dot users, it is giving users of array. Oh, again it is having users. What is this? Am I need to go like this? Oh God, what happened to this? That is okay. Here we are taking the data into a users. Users dot users. Let me check this. Users dot users. Oh, we are getting the data like this. Fine. What I will do, let users equal to users dot users. I think it will be works, I believe. Let me check this. Let fail to compile. Users is already declared. Sorry, something went wrong. Assignment to a constant variable. Yes, that is a constant, right? Let us take something called data. Let data. Oh, why it has no, why it is not working? I didn't understand. You written users dot length. Okay, I believe it has to work even if we can write like this. Why that is not working? Let me check this. Users dot length. We are getting the data like this actually. Users dot map. Let me check this. Yeah, we are getting data, but actually I missed the here also we have read the same story. Okay, but anyhow, this is what exactly the way of fetching data by using user reducer hook. That is also for maintaining the state. This is also for maintaining the state, but the only thing we can maintain complex state in the user reducer hook. So when we are working with multiple states, I think it may not be good idea, right? Definitely it may not be good idea. And if you are passing the states like this, what is that, earlier we seen, right, hook counter. So if you are passing the multiple states like this, it may not be good idea, so it will look clumsy. That's the reason we are implementing the concept called user reducer hook. This is also for maintaining the state of the component.